This is DownHome Sports, covering the best sports and student athletes in Ellis County. Brought to you by Pinnacle Bank with ATM Live, powered by the people. Not just another bank in Texas, but Texas in a bank. The United States Marine Corps, the fighting spirit of an entire nation. Doe City Pizza and Burgers. For the best in artisan pizza and burgers, go to Doe City in Red Oak, Texas, across from the high school. It is delicious.
And Superstar Collision, located on Highway 67 in Cedar Hill. To get it done right, choose Superstar Collision for your automotive repairs. Guess what, Ellis County? We got another high flyer, heavy lifter, and it's going to be Emily Forner. Emily, let me tell you, first off, congrats.
Thank
you.
You.
Second off, it's a long season in powerlifting.
Yes.
It is people don't realize it. They just see a couple of meets and then all of a sudden you're in state, right? But let's start off with the time and dedication it's taken you to get to this point. Talk about what you started off in the off season, eating, cardio, not just lifting.
Yeah. Well, so we started off really lifting in December. And so that's basically whenever I started my diet, which is mainly just cutting out like carbs and things like that and candy a lot. I'm bad about candy. But just cutting those things out and just working consistently and not taking, like, whenever we do take off days, it's not like a cheat day where I can go get 3 things of Whataburger and eat in one sitting. Like, we just stay consistent, basically.
Well, and y'all have a pretty big program for 3A in women's powerlifting. It's massive.
Yeah.
I counted 10 girls?
I believe so. So let me think. I believe you're right. I believe it's 10 girls. We started off our freshman year, and we were the first girls. My coach, Coach Wood, took me and my best friend Whitney Stansel aside. She also does powerlifting, and he was like, "We want to restart the girls powerlifting program, and I especially want y'all in it." So he started up with us two, and then more girls started coming through the season, and then COVID happened, and then we just continued from there, and it started growing and growing because we just kept telling people, "Hey, you look like you'd be good. Come lift with us."
So you're a recruiter for Coach Wood, huh?
Yeah. And he's not even the powerlifting coach.
Yeah.
He just helped. But our coaches right now are Coach Harrelson, which she's amazing, and Coach Peach, he's also great. And then we have Andy, who helps, like, he's like a coach, but he helps with us. And they really have worked really hard to get us to the point where we're at right now.
Well, let's go back just a little bit in time, okay? Let's go back to regionals. There's 5 of y'all that punch your ticket to state.
Yeah.
Okay. You had, and help me out if I mispronounce somebody's name here. In 5th place was Diamond McCutcheon in her weight class. 4th was Elaine Lopez. And then you had Courtney Spear with the 1st. Whitney, believe, came in 2nd.
Yes.
Okay. And then, of course, you came in with the 1st. How great was it to be getting 5 girls, first off? Yeah, because when you're in these sports where there's not a lot of people in it, do you not become a tighter group?
Oh, yeah. Like, for sure. Especially because, like, with regionals, we had to drive and stay at a hotel. So we just have, like, genuinely our little group just really, really bonds over what we do. Because you have to have that to be able to, like, stand behind someone and help them if they are going to fall. You have to have that trust and balance with that. But anyway.
So it's that spotter's mentality, right?
Yes.
You're going to do everything to save me. I'm going to do everything to save you.
Yes.
Okay. Well, so then, I mean, that alone would have been a great season, would it have not?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But now y'all started heading down to Corpus. Were there nerves going down there? What were the thoughts by all of y'all as y'all headed down to Corpus Christi?
Well, Me personally, it still like really hasn't set in that was state, because I went and I had to like make myself not think that it was state so that I could lift properly. So it really hasn't set in, but I know the other girls were real nervous going down there because it was just Courtney and Whitney and me that went down there. And I know they were pretty nervous. And especially Whitney, she had come from Houston showing, come to Corpus for one day, and then left again to go back to show. So she was exhausted. And we were all just like kind of zoned out just because we were just in disbelief.
Yeah. Well, and did that not possibly help you not thinking that it's state? Did that probably help put you over?
Yes, it did. I'd hate to admit it, but it definitely helped just going in thinking it was just another meet.
Okay. And then, we get down there and unfortunately Whitney gets DQ'd on the deadlift, if I'm correct.
I think it was Courtney.
Was it Courtney on the deadlift?
Yes,
okay,
sir.
Then Whitney came in 7th, right?
Yes, sir.
Overall, that's where I mixed it up. But I mean, Courtney's probably so nervous that probably caused that little bit of distraction. I was thinking Whitney because of the showing and stuff, but because that's a lot to do in a week. Let me tell you. But you see one of your teammates falter. What do y'all do right then? I mean, I know y'all go over and pick her up. How important was that to help her through that moment? And did that spring into your moment as well?
Yes, it was one of those moments where because Whitney and Courtney are probably the strongest girls I know. And like state they were so nervous. And so it really hurt me like as a teammate because I know they can lift more than they did. And so especially whenever Courtney got DQ'd, I was like, oh my goodness gracious. Like it just broke my heart. But I know
you start to feel some pressure to pick this up for them.
Yes, a little bit. It was more of the pressure of I had to sit back and be like, yes, I did win, but I'm not going to be that person that rubs it in like that is, yeah, I won, and accidentally rubs it in their face, even though they would have loved that. They were so happy for me, but I just didn't want to cause any problems whatsoever, especially because I felt so bad.
Gotcha.
But they did the best they could with how tired and exhausted everyone was.
And Whitney at regionals did something like 900 combined pounds. I mean,
Courtney did.
Courtney did. I'm sorry. I'm getting the two of them mixed up. But I mean, 907 pounds that's some serious stuff. But now let's get back to you, okay? State champion, 97 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, this young lady's combined weight on 3 lifts, 630 pounds. 6 times her body weight in 3 lifts. Okay, so in other words, she could bench press me. Hey, I'm right up there with it. You may want to pull me on a plow for a deal. First off, when you hear the combined total at the meet, is that not just like your mind is just freaked out because that number is huge?
Yeah. Because I didn't know my total till the end, and I was like, oh, because I have to go in not knowing, like literally I go in and I'm like, don't tell me what you want me to lift, just let me walk up and lift it. And so whenever I did the calculations and heard the total, I was like, oh my goodness, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But what can I say?
So you have that moment, you get up on the podium. What's it like when they put that state championship around your neck?
I have never been like so proud and wanted to cry more in my life about myself, because like I'm proud of myself for winning, but it was just like unreal. I was like, this is what I've been working for. This is what I've been training for. this is all I've wanted for this whole year. That's all I wanted was just win, and win right. But it was amazing. It was just a wonderful moment.
Now, as you go through your life with just this, right? Do you take this and say the impossible is possible now? What does that mean to you for your future?
Well, because I lifted what I lifted next year, because I am a junior.
Yes.
So next year, the only thing I am going to be worried about, because I have my number one medal.
Yeah.
Next year, we're going to start working on records. I want to start breaking some records.
There we go.
Because, my third attempt on bench was 150, which I have gotten in practice.
Yeah.
And I hit the wrong groove, sadly. But I got up, and this woman comes up, and she's like, hey, that was your attempt in tying the record for the 97 weight class. I need to come check and make sure that you don't have anything on wrong. And me and my coaches were like, what? We had no clue. We hadn't even looked at records, really. We were just worried about getting first. And then now I'm like, okay, I'm excited now. I got something else to look forward to.
Well, if you don't mind, what are your PRs in each of the events?
So I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
150 for bench is the highest I've ever gone. If I hit the right groove, it's easy. And squat and deadlift, I have yet to hit a number that I cannot lift. So 250 was the most. I had only done maybe 225 on squat, and I went up in state and I was like, I can get it, and I got it, and it was easy. So I have yet to plateau completely on deadlift and squat. So I'm excited to see what I will do.
That is so crazy.
Yeah.
That is just how much, and explain to people how much this sport, there's a lot about your body that's involved with it, but so much more about your brain and your attitude and your thought process. Can you explain that to a few people?
So whenever, like my dad always says, he always tells me before, lift it up here before you go out. Because if you can't lift it in your head, you're not going to be able to lift it out there, no matter how strong you are. It's truly a mental game. I think about it and I'm like, I got this. And what I do is I don't even look to see. I don't want to hear how much it is. I just think, whatever this is, it's the bar. It's the bar. And so I go up and I just lift it. And then afterwards, I'm like, oh, that was 250. That's cool. That's cool. But it really is a mental sport.
Well,
truly.
And, you talked about your coaches earlier, but there's somebody you mentioned just a while ago, your dad. How much does the support of him, the rest of your family, mean to you? Especially, like the little meets, it's kind of crowded. There's not a lot of room to move. But when you go to these meets for state, they're spread out. They're massive.
Yes.
How much does it mean to be able to look at your family in the stands before you attack the bar and know they got your back no matter what?
Well, to me, okay, so I walked into the state, walked up to the bar, and all I heard was cheering. And I look up and it's two full rows of just my friends and family from back home. And I mean, it was the best feeling in the world to know that they were there cheering me on the whole time. And they were so excited to see what I could do and just support me. It was really, really, really amazing. And I'm very thankful for every single person that was there.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, one other thing I want to tackle before we get off here, and I don't want to forget this, is when you're a high school athlete, little kids look up to you. First off, you can stay up past 10 p.m. So you're a superhero, right?
Yeah.
But when you do something, I always say our high schools are our heartbeats of our community. And people watch it left and right. What does it mean to you to now be a mentor to be somebody that the kids are looking up to down there that go, I want to be just like Emily when I get to high school. No, there are going to be kids that do that. What does that mean to set that tone, the program? You know, I mean, you're a junior. You five ladies have done so much for that school right now by doing this and opening doors for women that, I mean, it's Women's History Month right now, and I really do want to touch it. You just opened a huge door for so many young ladies. What does that mean to you at such a young age?
It truly is like an amazing feeling. Like, it can make me cry because I, like my little sister, for example, we've always been real competitive towards each other.
Yeah.
But now she's like, Emily went to state. I'm going to win state. I'm going to break. Whenever she sets the records, I'm going to break them. And she has this motivation to go do it. And then I see these other little girls that are telling my sisters, your sister is a monster. Like, she lifts heavy. And it's just, it makes me so happy to know that I'm showing these young girls that are my height. I mean, I'm 4'10", 97 pounds. Like, it's showing these girls that you can be whoever you want to be. You can lift however much you want to lift. If you just work hard and are determined to get it, you're going to get it. And you're going to be so thankful for it later.
Well, I tell you what, it's an amazing story. And I know you're nothing's over. Okay. You got so much more to go. What do you think it would mean to you to come back, not only win it 2 times, but to hit that record?
It would truly be one of the most monumental things in my life. And not saying that I will hit the records, but no. I'm going to try as hard as I can. And even trying as hard as I can is going to be monumental, just because it's the first time that I've really focused on something for this long and wanted it more than anything. And so it's going to be just an amazing feeling if and when it happens.
Well, and I want to touch on this too. What else? Because, you know, when you're talking about 3A schools, y'all do so many things within the school. What else do you do?
So I really focus very heavily on powerlifting, but I also do. I'm not too good at golf, okay? But it's fun to play. And my dad, an amazing golfer. Like, it's unbelievable. It's a little embarrassing whenever I have to go play golf with him because he's done by the time I've hit off the tee box. Like, he's a really good golfer, so it's a little embarrassing. But other than that, I really just focus on my academics and more. I probably should do that more. But and then I kind of just, in yearbook, I do yearbook. And I'm just kind of everywhere, wherever people need me. I really just try to be there to support my friends in their other sports and them showing and things like that.
Well, I wanted to bring that up because my understanding is you got pretty good grades. Okay. That's what I've been told.
Yeah.
A lot better than I probably ever thought about having, to be honest with you. Okay. Now, the other part is you're part of a great golf team there at Maypearl. Okay. Yeah. Y'all been doing exceptionally well this year as well. So applause to that. Okay. Don't give Dad all the credit on this one, though. Okay. Hitting that little white ball is kind of hard. But, but, you know, I mean, when you're doing these sports and you're part of small town Texas, you know, what was it when you're driving back home? Are you just in the back of Dad's truck? You got to, I'm imagine Dad probably has pickup with a half cab. Are you sitting in the back holding that medal, just staring at it?
Yeah, it was. The ride home was.
You rode with your team.
I did. I rode with my team, so I did ride with my team. But on the way home, it was just more of a, did that really happen, or are we on our way and I'm dreaming? It was just a big realization that I'm coming home with the number 1 place medal. Like, I'm coming home with that. It's not a dream. It was amazing. It was just surreal.
Yeah. Okay, so I got to ask this because I'm not sure of the records. Okay.
Okay.
What number state champion are you from Maypearl? Do you know?
I don't. Number one state champion from it. Number one state champion.
No, how many other people have won a state championship from Maypearl? Outside of rodeo. Outside of rodeo.
I believe none.
That's the point I wanted to get to.
Yeah.
A woman, ladies and gentlemen, is the first one at Maypearl to win a state champion in a UIL sport. And we at DownHome Sports couldn't be more proud of you. Dad, I know your parents, the entire town. Okay. It means a lot to our community and also Ellis County. Okay.
Yeah.
That's why we want to tell your story. Because folks, you may think these small schools, I'm going to tell you right now, small schools have my hearts. There's a young lady that made this year, just so you know, Emily, there was a young lady that just made it from Italy. She was the first girl to make it to regionals. And she did her bench press with one donut on it.
Oh my gosh.
And that was her PR. And we want to recognize people like you because you make a difference in our community and in all of our lives. We want to congratulate you first and foremost on being a state championship winner, first in Maypearl. And not only that, but just a great human being. Okay.
Thank you.
We look forward to continuing watching your career and seeing how far you can take things and where you can take that Ellis County spirit to in this world. Emily, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, the best benefit in having True Benefits is the fact that they're easy. You can get a hold of them. It's not 2 days later, a week later, I can make a phone call. If they don't have the answer, they'll get us the answer within 24 hours.
He came to the office and interviewed all of our girls and did a presentation, told them what they were offering, and the girls were able to decide what they needed.
They came in and gave us options both for our company and our employees that were affordable and beneficial for all.
No matter the size of your business or your employees' needs, True Texas Benefits is the partner for you.
Because Ellis County knows the difference.
True Texas Benefits.
In Ellis County, we're always on the run. It's always good to know that someone's always there. Doesn't matter the time of day. With ATM Live, hours are always available. Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can always pull right up and talk to someone live for that personal service. Or stop by and visit with the friendly folks inside. Pinnacle Bank, not just another bank in Texas, but Texas in a bank. Member FDIC. Well, guess what, Ellis County? We got two of the finest in the county with us right now, and they don't only take care of you mentally, they take care of you physically. We got Carter Morgan. We got EJ Hairston. Carter Morgan from Ferris, second year. Mr. Hairston is 5 years there. Well, EJ, I'm going to start out with you real quick, okay? What is it about a trainer on National Trainers Month that we need to make sure that people understand?
I think first of all, thank you for having us on and doing this for us and, letting people know who we are. I think it's important for people to understand that we are a healthcare professional. We're not just out here, handing out water and doing first aid. Like, we are actually evaluating injuries. We are actually taking care of people physically, mentally, emotionally. We're not just out there just because they're playing sports. Like, there's a lot more that goes into this than just playing a game. So first and foremost, I think people need to understand that about what we do.
Well, and Carter, do a lot of people just think y'all are just taping and icing? I mean, is that not the normal, it's a trainer in high school, tape and ice, wrap, and they're done, right?
Right. So, yeah, that's like one of the big misconceptions with what we do is, we're here just to tape ankles and wrists and provide you ice for an injury. People forget, like, we actually have to evaluate that injury and then, decide the proper protocol. There's a lot more that goes into it than just taping ankles at the end of the day.
Well, and EJ, talk about that continuing education that y'all have to go through, because a lot of this is a majority education based with all the extra things that y'all have to do.
Right. So, every couple of years we have to report our continuing education, and we're not just checking boxes. We are, there are athletic trainers out there that are actually in research to find out what the best practices are. And once they find that out, they present that to us that are in the field to know the best way to take care of our kids. And I say our kids because we're at the high school level, but I mean, we're also in the professional ranks and taking care of $1 million kids, like, professional athletes. We're in the industrial settings. We're taking care of people that this is their livelihood. So that continuing education is huge. It's a huge piece for what we do. And, that helps us grow. It helps us continue to get better at what we do. And we're not just out here taping ankles and handing out ice bags. We are actually evaluating and making changes in people's lives with the rehab that we're doing with the evaluation skills that we're given.
Well, and Carter, I'm just going to say, I think one thing that gets misled on sports, right, is they see a player come to you, you do something, and they're back out there. Now, I know with every one of the trainers here in Ellis County, they're patients, and we're going to call them patients, but the athletes' patients are y'all's first priority. It's not getting back out there to get a first down on a, fourth down play. Talk about the care and the mindset that y'all take into a game real quick about how you're going to make sure that these players are taken care of, not only for that game, but for their future.
So a lot of it is the athletes first, right? So at the end of the day, we go in with that mindset of what's in the best interest for these kids and their health, regardless of what, some coaches, some parents might think. Sometimes it's hard, those kids, they have the mentality too of like, I'm fine, let me go back out there. That gets kind of hard, especially when you get the relationship with those kids too. But, you know, you got to see past today and do what you can for them in that moment.
Well, and EJ, you know, y'all work with these young kids, and I know that's a tough thing in and of itself. Not only just evaluating a player or a patient out there, but working with these young kids and trying to get them the knowledge and the skill sets in such a short time is just amazing what y'all do. What are some of the things y'all do in Waxahachie to prepare these young people? Because it's not always just taped ankle. There's broken bones, there's slashes. You know, how do y'all prepare them for all this stuff that they're going to encounter in a year?
Well, the first thing we do is we approach our coaches and we get involved with our coaches and let them know that we need to be involved in the parent meetings that they have before their season starts. So, and we're not just sitting there, like we actually ask them for time during that meeting to let parents know, like, this is not all just going to be fun and games. Like, injuries happen. They're inevitable. It may not happen to your kid, but it may happen to a kid around your kid. So these are things that could happen. Here's what we have in place for you. We don't go into detail about our emergency action plan, so I feel like that's too much information for a parent to have. But we have those for our coaches, and our coaches know, you know, these are the things that you have to do as a coach if a situation actually happens and we have to activate EMS and that kind of thing. So we make sure that our kids know what they need to do, you know, as far as taking care of their bodies, nutrition, rest, hydration. We let parents know, like, we are there for your kids. We're there for games. We're there for treatment times before school, after school. And then we let coaches know, like, these are the things you have to do to help us help your kids stay on the court, stay on the field, whatever it takes, safely.
No, that's phenomenal. I mean, we got Russell Wagner joining us right now from Midlothian. And Wags, you know, tonight, I know y'all were up there and, you know, we're talking about, you know, just the life of a trainer. And tonight, y'all went up there to the school board in Midlothian and we're talking about y'all's grant that y'all got. Can you talk about that a little bit? And, you know, like, just all the stuff that maybe people don't understand that y'all are short on.
Yeah, we put in with the Midlothian Education Foundation for a grant for a handheld portable sonogram machine. So it's got a dual head processor that allows us to take 2 different depths of sonograms to look at muscle tissue, fiber or ligaments, bones. And with the bigger head on it, it can also go into normal or further depth and actually get images of organs and things like that. So if you wanted to check if somebody had a ruptured spleen or something like that, you could actually check on the sideline and see if there actually was any kind of damage to the spleen as well. We're trying to get all that purchased recently and trying to get it all purchased and get the training on it so that we can get it up and running and used as soon as possible.
That's pretty darn cool, right? They'll work harder. You know, I looked this stat up and I found this very interesting, that between 2016 and 2025, the original projection was that the training position as a job title was going to grow 23%. So it was in the top 5 jobs that were growing. What is making that such? Is it the need? Is it just more eyes on? What is making that grow? And why is it such a bright future for so many people?
I think it's growing, and it's growing so quickly because I mean, there is a need, especially in the high school and college settings where you know, there's the hours, they're long, you know, pay ranges. And so those aren't always like, you know, appeasing, you know, characteristics for a job. But I think it's growing just because when people get involved in it, you know, like these high school kids see it through their programs, or you get exposed to it in a college setting somehow. there's more to it than you actually think. Like a lot of people think, oh, water or taping, but when you get to actually see the behind the scenes of it, I think that's what is actually more appealing to our job more so.
Well, EJ, can you talk about that? There's a special bond between trainer and player that I don't think a lot of people get to see. You hear about the strength conditioning coach, you hear about the position coach, everything like that. But do these kids not spend just as much time with y'all as they do those specialty coaches?
Man.
When they're injured, they spend more time with us than anyone else. They sometimes spend more time with us than they spend at their own house. And I think people don't realize that we see kids at their lowest. Like when they can't play, that's the kids, for some kids, that's their lowest point. So we're the ones sitting with them, explaining what's going on with their body, explaining, what's going to get them back on the field, on the court. And we're their cheerleader at that point. And we're their confidant at that point. The athletic training room is one of the safest places I think a kid could ever be. Because in that room, whatever you say, at least in my training room, whatever you say in that room stays in that room, unless it's going to cause harm to you or to someone else. So whatever you say in there stays in there. And we don't talk about it anymore if you don't want to talk about it. And, it's just, we just build that and we build off of that and we learn about each other during that. We don't just talk about the injury line. Now I want to know about your family. Now I want to know about what you like and what you don't like, because it gives me a chance to take your mind off the injury that you're dealing with.
That's pretty important right there, Wags. What is that bond like for you? Does it affect the parent bond as well? Because I know, like, you get a freshman that comes in, gets hurt, they're having to bring the kid up. What do y'all do to build that bond with the parent to let them know you have their child's best interest at heart?
The trying to get the parents to understand, what we're there for and our purposes sometimes is a task in itself. But once the parents really understand what we're there to do and how to help their kid, the parents really appreciate what we do. And it's getting that trust of those parents. Like I said, it's a chore sometimes. It really is. But once you get those parents' trust and those parents understand that you're there to help their kids, the bond that you get with the kid, sometimes that bond is almost as strong with the parent too, because the interaction that you have with both of them and earning their trust just as much as earning the kid's trust. It's interesting. There are some parents that almost look at you as, almost like a family member in some cases, because you work so much with their kid. They really kind of almost look at you as an extended family member as well in some cases.
Ryan Carter, I know y'all had some big injuries. We're not going to mention names or anything, things like that. But when you've got somebody that's got their future like staring them down the path, right, and they have that massive injury, what are some of the things that you utilize to get them over that hump?
A lot of it comes down to, like we're talking about, being able to relate to them in that situation. Maybe we didn't have that specific injury, but, as athletic trainers, we were exposed to it somehow, one way or another, when we were growing up. For me, a lot of it is like that, communication, talking to them through each phase that you're going to go through with this injury, reassuring them that you're on the right track, you're progressing in the right direction, trying to get them to express to you what they're going to fear out of the situation. If you have that connection with them, more times than not, they're going to open up about those situations. And just overall, like, what do you want to get out of this? I'm here to help you. I've done this multiple times and we're going to get you through it.
Well, and EJ, we've talked about that player bond. Now let's talk about that high school trainer bond. Are those not your kids? through that school year?
Yeah, they're my kids.
Okay. Well, just talk about them and how exciting it is to see somebody learn something, do something amazing, or you just catch on to some material that the average person wouldn't as far as physical training goes.
I think, if you have a kid that's had an injury and you've educated them on that injury and, they unfortunately get that same injury, they already know where their starting point is. Like they already know, oh, I stopped doing this because you told me to do this. If I hadn't stopped doing this, maybe this wouldn't have happened. And that's not always the case, but they know what they know what their steps are at that point. And even for our student athletic trainers, with those kids, they know what the setup is. You tell them one time and they know what the setup is. And they've seen injuries and they've seen how we approach kids and they know that we approach them in a calm manner. So when they, have to do their first aid and they're taking care of, a kid that's bleeding on the sideline, they're not frantic because we're not frantic. So I think they learn that from being around us, just like our kids learn from being around us, that it's not a frantic situation. Like we got to enter it calm and stay calm throughout.
That's pretty awesome. Well, Wags, one of the things I know y'all do is y'all do timed wraps. Is that basically just to build up their confidence in their skills and give them a plateau to launch from?
The timed wraps. I mean, we really we really challenge our kids a lot, to be honest with you. There's been numerous times where we've actually had some kids get pretty close to beating our times ourselves. But it is, I mean, the more you get them to understand, the more confident you are in what you do and the speed in which you do it, it becomes a second nature for you. And, that speed and timing and precision just becomes second nature to you. And that's trying to get them to understand that it's you're not always going to hit every angle just right. You're not always going to make it always have it look like the best tape job out there. But the more you do it, the more you practice it, the easier it becomes, the easier it is. And it builds that confidence for that kid. And not only just, like I said, in taping, but it builds confidence in everything they do. It's amazing how much it actually translates to everything that they do in life.
Well, Carter, what are some of the things y'all do down at Ferris to help bolster those kids, the high school trainers, and bolster them up to take on these things?
So one thing that we do, if you're going to be in a program, you've got to take Sports Medicine 1, which is a class I teach to the students. It's more like a lecture class, getting to know sports medicine basics. And if you've been enrolled and you decide you want to be in the program, we do the time wraps as well as just once they're, comfortable. Just something fun to do. This year, we've got a big group, so I'm thinking the Trainer Olympics is always a good thing that I've seen. That really, it's something fun that they get to push themselves to do as a group. They get to know each other as a group, and you get to watch them grow over the year. They become best friends. Like my group, they're best friends. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, EJ, do you think we need to have an Ellis County Trainer Olympics competition?
I mean, I'm not gonna jump out on that limb and say yes because I don't know what everybody's thinking. So, I mean, it's something to debate down the road.
Well, I think y'all and those kids need to get a lot more credit. Real quick, EJ, what sport did you play growing up?
I played basketball growing up, in high school and college. And then I knew at a very early point in my career in college that being 6'1" wasn't going to help me. And I couldn't handle the ball and not a very good shooter. So I figured, I'd just figure out a way to be around sports and, whatever I could do to help someone else is what I wanted to do.
Carter, what about you?
I did through high school. I tore my ACL my junior year and spent many weeks and months in the training room, almost 2 years. And that's when I decided, you know what, this is this is pretty cool. Why not? Why not go to college and study a little bit more?
What brought you to it?
Believe it or not, I actually didn't play sports in high school. I played when I was in junior high and when I was younger and stuff. But when I was in high school, I actually was recruited to be a student trainer. When I first got into high school, and just continued on. Had a little change of heart for a little while. Decided to consider being an accountant for a little while, but I think reality of it is my heart was always with helping people and being involved in sports. So I reverted back to what I did in high school, and I enjoyed it and just continued on doing it into college. And here I am 24 years later.
Pretty amazing. Well, EJ, to close this out, what is one thing that you would tell people, if they wanted to be in high school as a student trainer or take this on as a career? What advice would you give them?
Don't look for it to be a high-paying job. It is gratifying in many other ways, but you got to be in it for the right reasons. You got to be in it for the people, the kids, the parents, the coaches, the administration. You got to be in it for the people. This is a people profession first, and then an injury profession secondary to that. So if you don't care for people, then this isn't for you.
What about you, Wags?
Really good man.
Well, my advice is real simple. You got to learn how to balance life. The job is so time consuming, and not being able to have a life with your family or a husband, wife, kids. It's a challenge. You got to figure out a good way to balance it out and understand. You chose the profession. It's not going to change. Your hours aren't going to change. If you're lucky to find one of those jobs that, you do only work 40, 50 hours a week, congratulations, you found a golden one. But odds are, you're working a lot of hours and taking a lot of time away from that family. Learn how to balance it out.
Carter?
Yeah, those are both really great points. The other thing I'd just say is learn to love the grind. It's a grind every day. You're the first one in and the last one out on most occasions. So just go in mentally every day with every day is going to be a good day, because at the end of the day, you're there to impact somebody else.
Folks, Dallas County athletes, let me tell you, some of the finest are right here with you. We got some great trainers in this county, but remember, take it easy on them sometimes, folks. They've been in a 12-hour track meet. They've been done a 2-hour basketball game. They're up there, getting you stretched out, everything under the sun. Make sure you show them some appreciation, some love. You know what? They love baked goods, except for Wags because he's on diet. But bring them a basket sometimes, okay? And if you don't realize this, folks, also, I want to throw this one out there. We actually had last year 2 kids that came from Ellis County through training, got a job at a college, and won national championships as a PT person for that sports group. One was with the Auburn Equestrian Group. So you never know where this life's going to take you. And normally it's somebody like these 3 right here. They're going to help point you the right direction in your life. Folks, I want to appreciate y'all. So I appreciate y'all so stinking much. It's fun to be at a game and actually get to talk to y'all, see what y'all do, and how many lives y'all impact in this world. From Now On Sports, we tip our cap to you and just wish you the best. And I hope everything goes well the rest of the season. Okay.